Think about starting your own PT clinic? In this episode, we're going to share another 3 big challenges that you'll likely face and how you can overcome each one of them.
So, challenge 4. This is my favorite thing to talk about, is systems and processes. You have to have systems and processes if you own a business. If you aren't organized, things are going to be messy for everyone, for you, for your customers, for anybody who comes in and works for you, and that is not a good look anywhere. And ultimately, it's going to lead to a lot of frustration on every end. So if you don't have that organization, things typically get lost or dropped. You always want to do what you say you're going to do. And if you have organization and structures that you can replicate over and over and over, then you know you're not going to miss a lot of those key points, especially if it's something that you are supposed to be fulfilling on as a service, or that you're supposed to be doing something for employees. That is huge when it comes to systems and processes. Most simple example, I'll give an example of a cancellation policy. So most services have some sort of a cancellation policy because it's your time that people are paying for. And so when we book appointments in advance and then somebody cancels, it leaves a gap in your schedule. The clinic doesn't make money, and it actually loses money because you're still paying all the overhead costs for that time slot that is now empty. So with a cancellation policy, just having it doesn't do anything. It has to be enforced. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. If they don't have systems and processes around this, like they may have it written that, hey, we have this cancellation policy, but if you don't enforce it, you really don't have a system. You have the policy, but it's not enforced. So then that's going to create confusion and chaos when somebody cancels and you just kind of let it go. And they do it over and over again because you've set the expectation that there are no consequences, even though your business is losing money. People get into this habit, and then one day you get frustrated. And now you have to go and enforce that cancellation policy. And now people are upset with you because they're like, I've done this 10 times before. Why are you charging me now? And it's like, well, for all these reasons that I should have been charging you. But make it make sense. You need to do it from the start. If you do it from the start and you set the expectation, people can't be upset with you. They understand that you have a business to run, but it's when you mess up, you're inconsistent, and you try to people please, and then you have to go around and do what's best for your company. That's where you are going to really upset people. So just do it to begin with, things like that. As far as employees, if you grow to beyond yourself, and even before you have employees, systems and processes are important to write down. But if you have policies that you don't enforce with your employees, it's a leadership problem. It's your fault that your employees aren't following it. An example is setting expectations of, arriving a few minutes before the first patient gets there. If you have somebody who should be there 10 minutes before their first patient, but you've never enforced it, and so they always get there when the first patient gets there or right at their first time, then your employees are going to be upset with you when you do start enforcing that, because it's a client experience issue. You need somebody to be there, to be set up to receive them, give them water, and get them started on time, and not have you walking in and putting your backpack down when they get there. And so again, that's a leadership problem, and you have to set the expectations with everybody on your team from the beginning. Those are systems that you have to have in place in an employee handbook, and it has to be followed and enforced. So learning to set expectations around every operational process that you have is going to be major. Even things like if you try something new as a system, you have to roll it out and make sure that all the questions are answered, that people understand their role, and that they understand that this is the new system that we're going to be following. If you don't roll it out in a timely manner, if you don't provide enough training on it, and then if you're doing a really bad job of enforcing it, or you just kind of throw it out and then you never make sure that it's followed, that's a really bad way to lead. Again, it's messy. So my tips are, have all of your systems and processes written so that everybody is on the same page, they're communicating about it in the same language, and it's followed by all. Even if it's just you, especially if it's just you. If you are inconsistent with what you do, and then you hire someone else and you're like, this is what I do, but I'm different, but these are the policies, and so you need to follow that. So do this, but do as I say, not as I do. Nobody's going to respect you. Yeah, you need to follow your own policies too. Like we have a get your notes done within 24 hours policy. And if I'll call myself out for a very long time, I got behind on notes and I would not get my notes done. And I was like, you have to get your notes done within 24 hours. But then I'm the hypocrite who's taking a week to get all my notes done because I have all these other things to do. Well, it doesn't matter that I have all these other things to do. I have to hold myself to the same standard. And so I have to be leading by example and taking responsibility, 2 of our core values at Move Athletics, by the way, to get all of this done no matter what. No such thing as excuses. They're just reasons why you didn't do what you say you were going to do or do what you were supposed to do. But I digress. Another tip is to get HR early. When I say HR, that's human resources, for organization of things and to help manage employee relations once you grow beyond yourself. Human resources is fantastic. You can actually contract someone out and get a liaison, and it's really not that expensive, but it saves so much time if you're trying to put together a policy book or know what people do. And it honestly also shortcuts the process for questions that you might have about legal issues that doesn't necessarily need to be an attorney that answers those questions. So it can be cost effective too. Have all your systems and processes, and that also will make your customer experience better and improve the business overall. Don't dig yourself into a hole that you can't get out of by flying by the seat of your pants. Have systems, have policies, follow them, and your business will be okay. My next piece of advice is sometimes it's not pleasant to enforce the policies. Nobody enjoys setting the ground rules and then making sure that people follow them and having those direct, sometimes butting heads conversations of, well, I don't want to pay a cancellation fee. I have
COVID.
Yeah. It's not always pleasant, but you have to do what you have to do to run your business smoothly. And it might not matter now, and you might want to be flexible because it's an easy thing and you want to people please, but one day when it does matter and you haven't behaved consistently with your systems in a really long time, that's going to bite you in the ass.
Yes, it will. And nobody appreciates the times that you don't charge them for those cancellation fees or something. It's like, I waived this for you 10 times. They're like, you have never charged me. Why are you charging?
It becomes entitlement and the expectation that, oh, well, they're not going to charge me. It's not thank you anymore. Thank you is 1. Yeah. Entitlement is 2.
Just skip it. Don't give them the 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, they never say, hey, thanks for not charging me those other 10 times. Like, wow, I really appreciate that. I get it. It's just not how it works out. Challenge 5 is support, right? Like, what the hell do you do when you have questions? Who do you ask? Because being an entrepreneur can be a lonely road if you're just out there on an island by yourself, because your friends, your family, your former colleagues and coworkers, like, nobody gets it, nobody understands it. And, honestly, in Cash PT, like, we have some of our own unique challenges, like people wanting to take insurance and like all of that different, or people wanting to use our insurance and all that different stuff that other businesses don't have to solve those problems. Every day in business, you're gonna have problems that you've never faced before. You're gonna have to figure shit out to problems that you've never had to solve before. You have to find solutions. You're gonna have to be creative. You're gonna have to figure things out because there's no handbook on how to start and run a business, unless you have a franchise. And if you open a franchise, then there is a handbook on exactly how to do it. But if you're opening your own place, you have to figure out all the systems that Kelly was talking about, all the processes. Like, you have to make it all from the ground up. And that can be really tough. And you're gonna have questions about certain situations, client interactions, decisions, and you're gonna have to find an answer or somebody to ask that question to. So really, I'm just gonna bring it back to getting a damn mentor who's already done it. Like, find yourself a mentor, pay for mentorship. Don't go somewhere and ask somebody to pick their brain. That is the most disrespectful thing that you can do, because their time is valuable and you're trying to take it up for free, right? Like Caleb and I both invested a shit ton of money in mentorship, in learning business, in learning our clinical skill set, in all of these aspects. We've put the time, we've put the money into learning it. We're also running our own business and solving our own problems. And when you're like, hey, let me pick your brain for a second, I fucking hate that phrase. Let me pick your brain. That's saying, let me mooch off you for free and just take up your time and do absolutely nothing to be thankful for it. Probably not do the shit that you told me to do anyways, and just completely waste your time for no reason. It's exactly like when your family members come up to you and they ask you for advice, and you're at their fucking family holiday party, and they're like, oh, talk to me, I got this back pain. And they're like, yeah. And like, you don't want to talk about it because you know they're not going to do this shit anyways, and they just want to like complain. And you take however long talking to them about it, and then you're like, well, you can come and see me. And like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Why would I pay you for your time? Like, it's rude, it's disrespectful, and they don't do this shit anyways. So find a mentor that you can ask those questions to that is dedicated to helping you, that is now their job to help you. Because when you ask these questions anyways, one question just leads to another, right? You solve one problem and then there's 9 more questions on the other end of it. Like, hey, how do I have this sales call? Cool. In our last episode, we kind of talked about a discovery call. We gave you an example. We ran through one. But then at the end, the question comes up, what happens if they ask about insurance? Which we ran through that scenario. But then what happens if they say this? What happens if they do that? What happens if they want to use this thing? What happens if they come in and they want to go visit to visit and they don't want to do a plan of care? What happens if, right? There's all of those other scenarios that are going to pop up that you're just not going to have answers to. And it's not going to be helpful.
So I think, especially when people are new to business and they don't know anything and they have all these questions, a lot of them will ask for help. Like I had someone at we had multiple people at CSM, the National Physical Therapy Conference, ask us about business. And, a couple of things is one thing, but then when you start taking up more and more time, that's where it kind of toes the line with just mooching. And I think people just aren't aware that that's how it comes off because they don't get it. They don't understand. So if you just kind of think of it from that frame of reference, always be willing to pay for somebody's time and just do the mentorship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we put this into like an actual context of CSM, that's something that we went out of our way to pay thousands of dollars to go to, spend a bunch of money to get materials prepped, and to go talk to people with a goal of ours to go help people with giving away our free course. And then there's people that want to come up and talk for 30, 45, 60 minutes of the time that we've paid thousands of dollars for to then just like help people with their course, but they're now doing it at a detriment to us, at a detriment to everybody else, to selfishly, not intentionally, but selfishly try to get help with something that they
maybe starting their own.
With something that they're not even actually having a problem with yet, right? And that's a lot of things too. People will go and ask questions about pretend problems, right? It's problems that they might have.
Yeah. And if that's you, that's okay. Just don't do it again. Yeah. Just find mentorship.
When you're even with a mentor, ask yourself, am I actually having this problem right now? And if you're not having that problem right now, don't fucking try to solve it. Don't try to solve problems that you're not having.
That's one of my favorite quotes is that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. We really do. I'll sit there and go over all these things with work in my head, and I'll be talking to Roger, and we catch ourselves on it all the time because we're preparing for events or situations in the future. But if it's not a problem, don't worry about it.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem. But what if this happens? But what if that happens? How many times have you gotten to have a tough conversation and you played how it's going to go terribly wrong 1,000 different ways in your head? You have the conversation and then none of it happens. And you spend all this time worrying and trying to problem solve over fucking pretend problems, and you've wasted all of your mental energy and all of your time. So don't try to solve problems you're not having. Find a mentor and build your network, right? It's not about just having a mentor. Like, build yourself a community of like-minded entrepreneurs that are doing the same thing. And it could be like different entrepreneurs, but in this realm, at least, I feel like it's very helpful to have a network of people that are doing exactly the same thing. If you're opening a cash PT clinic, well, hopefully you can get to know a bunch of other cash PT clinics so you guys can talk about the things and problem solve together in a way that's collaborative, and you guys can benefit from it. Like when Caitlin's having an issue and I'm like, oh, I've gone through that, let me tell you how I solved that. And then if I'm going through something, Caitlin can be like, oh, I've gone through that, let me tell you how I solved it. And you help each other grow and build. And it's not just like ask, take. And that's the other thing that I mentioned briefly in the last video, the last episode we did, was the book The Go-Giver by Bob Burg and Michael Mann. Go read that book. It'll give you a really good frame of reference on this. So you're gonna wanna have a network of other professionals on hand for shit that you don't specialize in, like a CPA, right? You're gonna want an accountant to look at all of your taxes and make sure that you're doing the things correctly.
You're paying money for that relationship, by the way.
Yeah, you pay people for their time and their services, their area of expertise, right? CPA, we pay a bookkeeper, right? Like, could we keep our own books? Sure, but is that something that I really want to do? Is it worth my time categorizing things? Maybe, but I don't think so. Caitlin's got better shit to do, so we just pay our CPA's firm to do it, because then when it comes time for taxes, it also saves me time on having to fill out this damn tax organizer where it's just like, you do our bookkeeping. I don't have to answer any of this shit because you already have all the information, right? You pay for it, and you pay well. Don't make these decisions based off of money, right? You can buy nice or you can buy twice, especially with a CPA. They're gonna save you a lot of money. We pay our CPA $400 a month, $400 a month, but he saves us tens of thousands of dollars on the back end, right? Like when we first switched over to him, he saved us more than we've paid him the entire time that we've been working with him. And he does it every single year. So it's totally worth it to me, right? And then you wanna have an attorney because you wanna have, well, I mean, different types of attorneys too. It's not just one attorney, like one size fits all. Like you might need a healthcare attorney for if you have, I don't know, questions related to Medicare and like how different things work with relationships and referrals, and maybe like if you're trying to build a rewards for a referral source or something like that, so you're not doing anything illegal. You're going to want to know, have somebody that has knowledge in that area of specialty. And you might have another attorney that specializes in employment law to make sure that you're doing the things with your employees legally and well, and you're not putting yourself in a situation where you're at risk for, I don't know, getting sued or doing illegal shit on accident. And then definitely HR. Man, I wish somebody made this suggestion to us way sooner. Like, I wish somebody told me when I first opened a business, dude, if you're thinking about hiring, get a fucking HR liaison to help you out. Because we've spent so much time like trying to build handbooks and policies and doing all this, and then we've put, both of us, obscene amounts of time into it. And then we hired HR, and they're like, this is all garbage. I'm gonna do it for you. They did it in a fraction of the time, and it was 300,000 times better.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I value HR. So challenge 6 is time. As business owners, we learn to wear a lot of hats. And that's the thing. It also takes the time to learn how to wear that hat well, in addition to actually the tasks that you're doing while you wear that hat. So until you have the money to start delegating some of those tasks, you just have to accept the challenge that it's a time management game. So if you understand that time management is the key to getting things done and moving the business forward. I live by my Google Calendar. Roger lives by his Google Calendar. And we have to have organization within that. You have to block your priorities. So if you have, say, kids or a partner or friends that are really important to you, you have to make sure that that gets on the calendar first. Because as business owners, our brains are wired to just work really hard and work all the time. And we will. So make sure that you're taking time for that. Same thing with like fitness.
When you work for yourself, your boss is kind of a dick sometimes.
Yeah. So just making sure that you block all of that time, that you make sure that it's consistently happening, because it's really easy to drop all of those balls. Now, when we're talking about organizing and prioritizing, that's what you have to do, is instead of having this huge to-do list that's all these kinds of topics that really should fall into certain groups, divide those out into different priority lists based on, okay, is this my admin time? Is this my finance meeting time? Is this my marketing meeting time? Is this whatever? So if I block time, I'm not gonna block it for, okay, spend 15 minutes filling out this paper and spend 30 minutes calling this person. Those are too specific, and what is gonna end up happening is you will either over or underestimate the time that it takes to get specific tasks done, and then it's gonna throw the whole day off. So what I do is I block 2 to 3 hours of umbrella time for, say, admin work. And then within my admin to-do list or priority list that I have, I'm gonna do the top 2 to 3 things that are going to be the small hinges that swing the biggest doors, meaning that are gonna have the most effect or most impact on my work, on my business. If I can get one of those tasks done, the top task, is that going to make other things easier? Is that going to make other tasks obsolete? And so that's what I'm going to start with. Same thing, then when I go to my finance meeting, 1 to 2 hours blocked for that. I'm gonna look at my finance priority list and go through that one by one. And that's how you can consistently keep doing the number 1, number 2 priorities and taking care of those issues and make the biggest impact. Because it's not that you're not willing to put in the time and the effort, it's that you're doing it without structure and organization, and that is what is keeping you chasing your tail throughout the week.
Also, if I may add a little bit here, you kind of touched on it. Usually we overestimate the amount of things that you can get done. And then we feel like shit about ourselves. Like, I'm gonna get these 5 things done today. And you're like, shit, I got 1 thing done. And you're like, and that's what leaves people feeling really stressed out at night, right? Like, I gotta get all that stuff done. I can't go to my kid's soccer game and because I gotta get these things done, and the fucking things are gonna be done. Like, you also have to realize that your to-do list is never going to end, right? Like, the to-do list never ends as a business owner. But those things that feel like fires, that feel really important and urgent, over time you begin to realize that, wow, so many of those are actually not that urgent and they're not that important. And having the organization like Caitlin was talking about is what's going to allow you to really realize that. But then realizing that you're probably never going to get as much as you expect to get done. Like, honestly, if I get like 2 or 3 things done in a week as tasks, I'm like, fucking yes, right? Like, just the reality of it.
And then a pro tip, I got this from Andy Frizella. Give about 10% flexibility of some of your open time that's not scheduled with appointments, because little fires are going to come up throughout the day and you have to have time to be able to address those and not let it stress you out too much. So if you have a little bit of flexibility in your schedule where you can move some things, that's going to be helpful too.
Yeah, if you found this helpful, go on the YouTube. If you're not watching it on YouTube already, hit the little subscribe button. And then if you want to share something like your Instagram story with a link to it so other people can benefit as well, that would be dope.
Yeah, we would be forever grateful. We really appreciate anybody who is supporting us on this journey to help change the healthcare experience for active adults and honestly physical therapists too.
Yeah, and if you want more free helpful shit and you're not taking our free 3-week mini course, like clinical training course, what are you waiting for? Where do they find that?
moveathleticseducation.com/free, or you can do the easy thing and just click the link in the description box. And remember, if you feel unhappy or unfulfilled in your career, no one is coming to save you. It is your responsibility to lead by example, to pursue excellence,
and to welcome the challenge of raising the bar. Drive the change that you want to see.
See you next time.